the mined Bitcoin per day since the halving, and BlackRock, I bit another 2 times. There are traders on Bitfinex at times absorbing 1 or 2 times more, depending on market conditions. So it's buying if it falls back. And somehow the prices, question is who is selling, where people try to guess based on, which age UTXOs they see moving. It's an indicator, and it's noisy, but it looks like some people have been holding Bitcoin for a year and a half, 2 years. So maybe they bought in the previous bull market around the 60,000 mark. Perhaps they didn't enjoy watching it dip to 15 and a half.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, they're selling capitulated. And loss is kind of permissionless global money, right? Which is a pretty radical thing. And surprisingly, actually, what it seems to have done is it seems to orange-pilled all those people. So, you have politicians who are clearly up to here in terms of personal Bitcoin allocation who actually get it. Now, it seems like we have a president who actually gets it too, right? And part of that was situational, that he got politically debanked just in a scaled way. And the incentives are holding together in terms of, securing the network and the balance of economic incentives to participate in the market and in mining and in building products and services on Bitcoin. So surprisingly, it seems to scale all the way. And there's a couple more levels to go because while there are a few sovereign things, like the Swiss National Bank has some exposure by MicroStrategy. I think about 1% of their US equities in MicroStrategy, and that will change. And I would say the other ETF holders, where an ETF was a simpler interface, is sort of accessibility, right?
Yeah.
So for the crowd that when they want to make an investment, they call their financial advisor, they call their broker, and they couldn't do it before, or then the futures ETFs are not attractive products, right? So I would say that is the sort of top 10% of wealth in the US minus the top 1%. So not the super high, get higher multiple on the market cap versus the money in if you have these kind of investors. That's interesting to see.
So if you have stronger hands coming in, more patient buyers. So the point, I think what you're making earlier was who's the sellers, and the sellers are people who probably bought around the $60,000 level. They went through the bear market through 2022. They didn't like that.
So they got fatigued, basically.
They got fatigued. They sold out. The markets moved from impatient to patient. Now we have the patient buyers, sovereign wealth funds who are thinking.
Right, which say it has like high volatility, but it's biased to the upside. And
asymmetric.
Yeah, whereas, the US stock index is more normal distribution. They got down and up. I mean, there are downsides too, but the upsides are bigger, basically. Yeah. So that's an interesting data point. I think that, they call it redistribution, right? That long term that the volatility is dropping a bit in Bitcoin. I think, these kinds of investors who are managing a portfolio, they can reallocate. I think the message that Sean brought to the pension funds, he was managing the first US pension fund that put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. This is an Clara VTA, and he was recommending around a 2 to 3% allocation with the argument that it got into a bear cycle. So I was like, oh, I don't like this. But I was stubborn. I didn't want to realize a loss.
Yeah.
So instead I got more sort of scientific and started looking at, why would you want to hold this individual stock in a bear market? Because, people need healthcare, they need banking, and just start paying attention to the fundamentals, looking at the company specifics, and change my outlook to be more of a value if you can. And if you want to trade, maybe pick an allocation and try to buy when it falls or something like that, right? And I think along the way, somewhere in there, my run up to 1,300, and it gradually fell to 300 and 200, and it dipped below 200, which I think was a kind of previous psychological number that it achieved. And people did not like that. They were like, oh no, it's fallen off to 200. That was like their kind of floor, right?
Okay.
And it fell off. And fundamentals at that point, everything is just much, much better now from the fundamentals. And the consistent buying there are less new coins being mined. Coins on exchange are shrinking. So, yeah, I think the price should be much higher.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it will get there sooner or later because the sellers will just simply run out of coins to sell, or they'll get their mojo back and decide that, wait a minute, it's taking another run. Let's buy it back at a higher price. That's what people do, right?
Yeah.
So a bankable value, and then everything above that is volatility.
Yeah.
Then you can be calmer about, and if you keep that as your anchor, then you won't get so, it won't feel so dramatic when it drops 30%.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that zoom out is a good thing because people have nice charts of previous bull runs where there's been like 5 or 6 summer, like 2015 to 2017.
It's the block size wars.
Yeah, as an example where I would say that was resolved by the market. Going into, people were uncertain about what was going to happen. Some people thought the miners were decision makers or the exchanges or the developers, but actually missed the market, made the decision. People sit on the fence. They're not, their voice isn't actually heard in the market. Right? So I think that's one factor. And then, the custodian effect, because with the ETFs and the treasury companies are now companies that are fiduciaries for their investors, or in an ETF, the unit holders who are will cat pictures if they really want to. Right now, that's kind of disappointing because there's uneven wealth distribution in the world, and the best, sort of the hardest and strongest sort of asset protection assurance is from holding direct on-chain UTXOs and Hyperwallet or something, right? So, outside of the Bitcoin space, your options are like offshore banking, maybe a little bit in progress, but probably they'll just do some kind of simple change to accommodate that. I think there's like a little bit of a blown drama, but I think the things you bear in mind is that you can't do anything about it, right? So it's a side effect of permissionlessness, right?
Yeah. Well, they're making a change to allow more of it.
Right. Yeah.
And if someone's willing to pay for it, is it spam? Because then you're trying to say someone else's value is not valuable.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the free market does resolve it in a way, because there are times when the Bitcoin transaction fees are very high, and then they don't want to,
super expensive.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like looking at the market, but then this should be like a fundamental reason. Why does it even have a premium? And so I think there's a reason, which is that it's generating yield. So not in a normal interest sense, but they are increasing the Bitcoin per share and annualized rate. And in 2024, MicroStrategy achieved 73.5% increase.
That could go from 47 to 52 or something like that.
Yeah, it's quite analogous to the PE ratio in a way, yeah. And then the other phenomena is that you see that different strategy companies have a different regime. So you can see that Metaplanet and the Japanese hotel company one, they have a very rapid rate of Bitcoin appreciation. And the blockchain group, a newer one in Paris, a software company, really sell a lot more convertible notes. So, with the euro or the dollar basis convertible note, the company is sort of moderating how much debt ratio they take on. And, MicroStrategy has said they want to keep it no more than 20 to 30% leverage, so 1.2 to 1.3. And of course, they can moderate it, right? They can build the leverage ratio up to 1.3, but then they can sell some shares at the market, which reduces their debt ratio, and then they can do it again. So they kind of oscillate because they know that it's not very scalable, and if other people pile in, it'll disappear. But here it's an enormous dislocation. So it's like the arbitrage of the century, basically.
Well, and he's got 580,000 Bitcoin, and if everybody jumps in and pushes the price of Bitcoin up, he's looking pretty good, right? So,
well, I mean, I think there is an effect, which is that strategy is a bit indexed to the MNAV you can hold. So if you have a higher MNAV, if the MNAV, so they just, plowed through it. They did something tactically interesting, which is they had at the tail end of it, like a 200 million collateralized Bitcoin loan from Silvergate.
Okay.
And Silvergate started to suffer in the market, and they needed liquidity fast. So they actually bought back their own debt like a 30% discount for Silvergate.
Yeah.
So that works out well.
Yeah.
But generally, the debt they have is convertible.
Right.
And so they can, they're converting it as it reaches premium. So the debt that's left over when the market turns, which presumably will eventually, is, it's manageable. And I think the other thing is, the average entry price into Bitcoin is like 65, some probably is gradually creeping up to 70. So they got some headroom from 110 level. The inflation rate is higher than the interest rate.
Right.
And so if they have 10 billion or more sitting in US treasuries, they're just straight up losing it.
Right.
And so that's not, Warren Buffett would say cash is king, and he's waiting for an opportunity in the market, and he's good at like waiting for the bottom of the market to go buy stuff.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, like, why is he losing money on the cash? Right? There's obvious. They're starting from the smaller end, like the innovative end. But yeah, I guess there are a few public companies doing it. Just during the conference, there was one of the Trump media companies,
right,
with Convert.
Yeah. Yeah, to the dance floor analogy, the one person dances alone for quite a while, and then
well, apparently it's now 80.
Right. So like they're coming, and
like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and enabling post notifications for more content on crypto and digital assets. Check out our other videos and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps with the YouTube algorithm and keeps the content coming. Thanks for your support. Enjoy the video.